Here I am. Good morning and welcome everybody to the Toon Review for this morning's Breakfast Time show with myself, Paul. Apologies for the late start, but it's when we say we start at 10, obviously things have got to be done behind the scenes and getting the show ready and stuff like that. So to all the people making rather derogatory comments in the chat about starting, Choppy, if you want to go and watch NUFC Talk TV, mate, you're fine. Not a patch on this channel, but fair enough. And thank you, Mark, because actually somebody with a bit of common sense, imagine he has good and bad days, which I do, which yesterday was a terrible day for me. An illness, sometimes it takes longer to get going in the morning, especially with Parkinson's. But not many people seem to understand that for some strange reason. I've mentioned a million times on this channel what the illness is that I suffer for. But unfortunately, some people just don't understand it and don't understand the processes and what's gone into sort of behind the scenes to actually getting going in the morning with Parkinson's. It's very, very difficult. So when I say I'm going at 10, there might be some technical problems. There might be this, there might be that. But hey, you can't please everybody, I suppose. But that's just the way it is. Yesterday was no shows because I was terribly ill yesterday. And, we obviously I told Billy and etc. they could have a day off. And we were planning on doing a fan forum last night, but it didn't happen. So, anyway, but thank you to everybody who has turned up and hasn't kicked off. But basically, that's the state of play, and it really does fuck me off when people don't understand. People who have illnesses, people struggle, and if you're 5, 6, 7 minutes late, people start kicking off. It's ridiculous. Anyway. Good morning to everybody else that's not kicking off with me. Thank you for joining in with the show. If you do enjoy the show, please give it a thumbs up. And, of course, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. It is completely free of charge. You can become a member of the Toon Review by hitting the join button underneath myself. And, of course, super chats are available. And that is the $sign at the bottom of the live comments, which will guarantee your comment to be read out on the show if you do super chat. Right, let's get started because Anthony Elanga's come in for a little bit of, he's been under fire, hasn't he, for a while now, which I don't understand, right? Not for the life of me can I understand why Anthony Elanga is getting any shite from anybody. He's brand new to the club. We're only 6 or 7 games into the season, and already people are writing him off. Already people are calling him the Miggy 2.0 and that he's got nothing to offer, etc., etc. And I find it astounding. And now the media are picking up on this, saying that Anthony Elanga is under real pressure. And I don't understand where this has come from or why even media outlets are reporting this morning, that he's under pressure. Every Premier League player, guys, is under pressure. Let's be honest here. Everybody that plays in the Premier League, or anybody that plays football for that matter, at a high level, is under real pressure. Pressure for the success of the club, pressure for their own personal career. Everybody is under pressure. But for some reason, Anthony Elanga's been given a handful of games for us, and people are writing him off. And now the media are stamping in, which is to be expected, because the media look for any negativity coming out of Newcastle United and they absolutely jump on it. They absolutely jump on it, and it's pathetic. And we've had this stuff going on with the media for many, many moons now. But I'm an Elanga fan. I have to say, I think he will be a fantastic signing for us. Will he be the out-and-out elite right winger? I'm not sure about that. But what Elanga has got is plenty of qualities. He's got pace. He's good on the ball. He's a great crosser of the ball. But he will get it wrong sometimes. And, everybody, when Voldemort started and came into the team, everybody, including the pundits, was saying, he needs time to gel with his new team. He needs that. He needs this. But if you're Anthony Elanga, you've got one game or else you're out. You perform roughly for a couple of games, and you're not going to get anywhere with certain Newcastle United fans. And now it's in the newspapers that he's under pressure and that Murphy will come in and take his place, and it's been £55 million up the spout. I'd completely disagree with that, because I've seen enough of Anthony Elanga, and I've watched Newcastle United since 1982, and I can tell you, Elanga is a talent, and he will get better. And even he, I don't know whether, he felt like he had to come out, a couple of weeks ago and say, "Oh, the best is yet to come from me," because he felt the pressure from fans through social media or whatever that might be. I can't understand why we have this mentality sometimes. And I'm not talking about just the fans here. I'm talking about media. Why are the media only, turning to certain players and saying, right, you've had... And let's remember, he hasn't even played every single game of these 6 or 7 games in the Premier League. He hasn't played them all. But for some reason, he's been written off. He had a great game against Barcelona in the Champions League, and I think I still don't understand why Eddie took him off. If I'm openly honest, I don't understand why Eddie took him off for that game. He was on fire. Now, he would have had loads of assists by now had we actually, had somebody at the time who was going to put the ball in the net. Because remember, Voldemar missed the first few games, and we didn't have a striker because of that skip rat going on strike. So if we'd had an out-and-out striker in certain positions, I think he would have had loads of assists by now, and we'd be all saying, "Hey, what's the problem with Elanga? Look at his ratio here. It's absolutely fantastic. So why are we kicking off? And why are we even worried about this nonsense?" It's mental. And, I don't know why some fans have turned into this sort of privileged supporter where they think that everything has to be put on a plate for them, that it hurts the players. We've seen that before. The stuff about Joe Linton years ago. And listen, I'll openly admit I was one of those. I was one of those who said, "Joe Linton, you're not good enough. I don't know why we've signed him," etc. But what happened is Eddie Howe saw something different in Joe Linton that I don't think any of us saw. A central midfielder, a battering ram, an absolute tank. And we didn't see that, but Eddie did. Now there's a reason why Anthony Elanga is a Newcastle player. There is a reason why we have spent £55 million on Anthony Elanga. Because he's worth it. And because Eddie sees something in him that he can bring to the Newcastle United side. Now, listen, I don't have problems with people being on the fence and saying, I'm yet to be convinced. Right? That's fine. No problem at all with that. But these people who are calling the Miggy 2.0 and just... It's crazy. NUFC Talk TV said Wissa out for the season. I don't think they said it. It was a rumour that was going around at the time. It was a rumour that was going around at the time that Wissa was out for the season. I think that's been completely debunked by most of the journalists, including Keith Downey, who did a video responding to it. We spoke about that on the show the other night and just how much the... in the nose are making a fool of themselves right now with absolute crap coming out. But yeah, going back to Elanga, there's a reason Eddie spent £55 million on him. And I really do think that Eddie will get the very best out of him. One thing that Eddie Howe does and has is belief in his players. Whether we agree with him or not, Eddie has belief in his players. And if he spends £55 million on a player, then I'm sorry, I'm going to back Eddie Howe. And I've seen enough of Elanga in the early part of his Newcastle career to say, there's a talent there. There's a real dangerous right winger there who can do lots of brilliant things for Newcastle United. Absolutely brilliant things. And Elanga is one of those players. I am in no doubt that Anthony Elanga will be absolutely superb for Newcastle United. How the hell can people write him off when he hasn't played every game and we're only, 6 games in? It is absolutely nuts and bananas. And I've said this before about Elanga. Yes, there will be times when Anthony Elanga gets the ball and he tries to take somebody on and he gets tackled. That's the life of a winger, right? If we want to see dynamic wingers, you have to expect them to take players on, and it won't work every single time. But what I do want to see from the wingers is not to put the head down and keep trying. Keep going at the defenders. Keep giving them nightmares. Even if you are losing the ball, you're in the defender's head. And Anthony Elanga is that type of player. His stats from last season are superb for Nottingham Forest, and that is the reason why that we went after Elanga and we got him. We hunted him down. We wanted him last year. We wanted him again this summer, and we got him. And I'm delighted we've got him because I think he's a fantastic footballer, and he will. And I can't wait for all these negative Nellies out there who write players off after a few games who are going to turn around and say, do you know what, I was wrong. I'd love him to throw egg in the faces of all these people who are writing them off. I don't know. Collux says, Elanga is like Paul. He keeps trying, sometimes makes mistakes, but he's still excellent. Well, thank you. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I make them on live shows like this all the time. Does it bother me? No. Because I know I'm human and I will make mistakes. Just like everybody in day-to-day life. Does everybody go to work every day, sit down and never make a mistake? No. I can't believe there's actually hate for Elanga because he's a brilliant footballer. And anybody that's watched him over the years will know. Nicky Butt came out a couple of weeks ago and said that he is an extraordinary talent, and the improvement he's seen in Elanga since the Man United days is phenomenal. So, yeah, I just bear this conversation in mind over the next few months and seasons while you see Elanga rise and become a very pivotal part in Eddie Howe's Newcastle United build. Now, Nick Voldemort has been mentioned again from Germany. Now, I looked at this report in the Chronicle, and the headline in the Chronicle sort of said to me that somebody else was digging Voldemort out for his transfer fee. Now, of course, Bayern Munich officials, good morning, Mr. Rummenigge, once again came out and said that Newcastle United were idiots, etc. You know, whoever's going to pay that money for Voldemort are absolute idiots. I think they're very wrong about that, and I think he will prove them wrong. However, obviously he moved from Stuttgart, and everybody sort of thought, oh, this price is tasty, even though he'd been chased by quite a few clubs over the summer. However, Werder Bremen legend Thomas Schaff has now weighed in with his thoughts, talking to Bild, saying that anyone who said Voldemort would end up in the Premier League so soon should have been put in a straitjacket. Now, he's not exactly having a go at Voldemort or having a go at anybody for that matter. What he's saying is, in his early days, and he goes on to clarify that in his early days, if anyone had told him that Nick Voldemort would go for £69 million to a Premier League side, he said you would have needed a straitjacket. You would have been in a mental institution. That isn't saying that. In fact, I think it's the other way around this. I think he's praising Voldemort for what a player he's become. But this is what he said. The sums that are generally paid today, it is insane. This is completely surreal. Nick can't be blamed for the fact that his transfer has caused such a stir. He's a good boy with a bright mind. The speed in which the transfer has now taken place was unforeseeable, not in Stuttgart and not at Werder. It was clear on that he had what it takes to play in the Bundesliga and the top leagues around the world. But anyone thought he would move for such money when he was younger now needs to be in a straitjacket. So what he's saying is he didn't really see the talent in him when he was younger and couldn't really see him as a £70 million footballer. But I don't know. That says to me that he's actually praising Big Nick rather than what the likes of Little Garden Gnome Rummenigge have been saying about him. And very well, very much a lot of hatred coming from Bayern Munich simply because they didn't get their player. They're a little bit pissed at it. And, of course, we know the rest of it from Bayern Munich's side. But I generally think that comment there, he's actually praising him, which is fantastic because, you know, nobody saw this coming for Nick Voldemort when he was younger. And in my opinion, Voldemort now has seemingly proved a lot of people wrong in Germany who were writing him off left, right and centre. And now he's actually there, £70 million player. And, let's not forget, scoring goals. And looking like a very, very good footballer who will only get better and better. So I think we've got a lot of excitement to come from Nick Voldemort. But, look, he's just a quality player. The hold-up player, the finishing, he's got it all. And if Eddie can take him to the next level, then we're in for a very, very special signing, folks. And I think we all know that. He's a special talent. I tell you something. I watched a little clip this morning while I was having my morning coffee. It was a clip of Newcastle United back in 1983 against Charlton. We won 2-1 at St James's Park. And it just made me sit back and think, Keegan scored both the goals. 2 headers. Really good headers. And Waddle was there. Beardsley was there. Gascoigne hadn't come through yet, but you know what it was? You just look and you look at the old St James's Park and you reminisce about what it used to be like. But would we really want to go back to those days and things like that? And we see where the club has come from since 1983 to now is monumental. I love going back and watching those sides because obviously I started watching them in 82, went through there as a kid and grew up watching Newcastle United. And the 80s were very much yo-yo. Sometimes we'd play some blistering football. The other times we were shite and get relegated. But we did see some very special players. And Mirandinha was certainly one of them. And it just takes you back and makes you sort of, I don't know, look at everything differently. When you look back then, you look at the performances and you look at Newcastle United back in the 80s and you look now and you think, God, as a little kid standing at the front of the Gallagher end, did I ever foresee that when I become an adult and St James's Park would be the stadium that it is now, we'd have been on the run we've been on and things like that and won a cup and all of this kind of thing. It was moons away. And it kind of makes you sit back. And that's why, I guess, I'm pissed about people calling out Elanga already. I think we need to just take a step back and realise that these are very, very special players and we should give them the opportunity. Kendo, the pitch was a disgrace for that Charlton game. It was unbelievable. Paul Goddard, yes, Choppy, I remember Paul Goddard, a real talent. But I don't think we got Goddard at the right time. But I was still very, very young when we signed Paul Goddard, to be honest. But I just think it makes you put your feet back on the ground and realise that, hey, these players are special that we have now. From those days to now, very, very different. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Sean Neve this morning because, we've been worried about the striker situation and Wissa's injury and is Asula going to be eventually good enough to stay in the Premier League, etc. But we have a young kid in Sean Neve who I think is really catching the eye of the Newcastle United first team staff. Last night, he banged in a hat-trick in some 20-odd minutes. And we've seen a little bit of Sean Neve, certainly in the build-up to the season, in pre-season and stuff like that. And he's impressed. He's come on a couple of times, and he really has looked impressive. And I think Sean Neve is one of those players that we can really start to get excited about, but hopefully not obviously put too much pressure on him. But looking at him, he's got everything. And another guy that's catching the eye. However, there's another guy, and it's Park, who started the season very, very slowly in the academy. But he is starting to come through again. Now, everybody got very excited about Park early doors. He looked a player. He got in the squad in the early games of the season. However, he went off the boil a little bit, but he's come back again. And I think, Park's got his head down, started working, got used to the speed of English football. And those two are tearing it up right now. And it's been a long time since we could get excited about, certain youngsters in the academy. But Park has obviously caught the eye again. Neve's banging in a hat-trick like he did last night. Peter says he watched Neve last night. Of course, they were on... you could watch the game. He was class, got brilliant movement and a class finish on him. One of the few under-21s Eddie likes. Yeah, look, Eddie's got this reputation, shall we say, that he doesn't particularly like the thought of bringing academy players through. I don't agree with that. I just don't. I just think the way our academy's been over the years, we have not had good enough players to come through. The odd one has, absolutely. You look at Miley and etc. So the odd one has snuck through, but genuinely, if you look at the academy over the years, certainly since Eddie's been here, it's been shit. It's been terrible. The academy has not been good enough, not fit for purpose. I know those words will boil people's piss, but there you go. And we have struggled in the academy. Now, however, we have got a couple of players who are coming through who we can get excited about. And Sean Neve and Park are certainly two of those players. And I think we have a right to be excited this time, because it's been so long since we've had academy players coming through who you think they're going to make the grade. They are fantastic. And long may it continue as well. You know, so many people have, not made it through the academy, and we've had poor performances in the academy leagues, etc. Now maybe we're turning the screw a little bit, because we have signed some decent players over the last, year and a half for the academy. But Neve is shining through, and so is Park. So get excited about them, guys, because this could be a big thing. Now, I know people don't like talking about the rat, but I feel like I read something this morning that really made me laugh. Okay, and what it was a Liverpool account stating that Isak, right? Isak will take another 3 to 4 weeks as he builds his fitness and makes a recovery. Now, a lot of Newcastle fans have picked up on this on social media and said, hang on a minute, what is he recovering from? You know, because the way they word it, he's recovering from some sort of injury. And he's not recovering from an injury as far as I can remember. He's basically went on strike for pre-season and needed to get his fitness back. Now, hang on a minute. How long is it going to take for Liverpool fans to just come out and say, we're not that impressed with Isak's start, instead of making pathetic little excuses for them, saying that he's going to take another 3 to 4 weeks to get fit as he continues his recovery from striking? That's not a recovery. It's just not a recovery. Yeah, I agree, Harpal. He's recovering from being a lazy bastard is what he's recovering from. You cannot make excuses for him any longer. You know, he hasn't had a great start at Liverpool. I think every whether that's just Newcastle fans or whether it's every football supporter in the Premier League can see that he hasn't made a great start. He is not getting the service that he got at Newcastle United. Mo Salah is a greedy little man who cuts inside and shoots all the time. He's getting nothing from the other side from Gakpo. So, listen, say what you want about him, Liverpool fans, but we know the truth. And he's not recovering from anything. You're just making bell ends out of yourselves, making excuses up for him all the time. And it's laughable. It's seriously laughable. And loads of Newcastle fans have got onto his account and put, excuse me, but what is he recovering from? I've retweeted it out. Go and have a look if you're on X, go and have a look at it. It's unbelievable. The excuses that some of these fans will come out with when they can't just turn around and say, he's had a slow start. But no, he's recovering from being a lazy twat and a gold digger, basically. So I hope long may it continue. I hope he's on recovery for the rest of the season. I really do. Mental. Lou says Voldemar didn't need time to adapt, even coming from a different league. Yeah, I mean, we could have said he's recovering from... I mean, it doesn't make any sense, though, does it? When you say, he's recovering from the Bundesliga. But no, he's, mental. Ollie says, imagine the stick Voldemar would get if he started like Isak. Media would be loving it. Oh, listen, we said this a few weeks ago. How long will it take the media and the pundits to stop licking his arse, right, and saying, he's not up to match fitness yet, he's not this, he's not that? Because that has been the excuse for Isak since he's moved to Liverpool, that he's not match fit. Whether it be Arnie Slot coming out with it, whether it be Liverpool fans or the pundits or the media, whoever it may be, it's been the excuse that he's not fit yet. And that just made me laugh out loud this morning when I thought he's recovering from being on strike. That's not a recovery. Unbelievable. Mike says he definitely was not injured. The rat, he went on strike and spat his dummy out. That's the only reason he's not match fit. But he should be match fit now. Come on, he's a professional footballer. Yes, I understand that there is this thing about match fitness, 100%, okay? However, he was training, guys. It's not like he was sitting at home doing nothing. He was coming to the Newcastle training ground and training on his own with a personal trainer. So he was fit when he went to Liverpool, not match fit because he needed a few games, but he's had those. And he still looks like a lost little sheep. So they need to just come out with and tell the truth and just say that he's had a slow start. Will he start scoring goals? At the moment, I'd say yes, because of what I've seen of Isak at Newcastle. He's a fantastic goal scorer. But he needs the ammunition to score goals, and Liverpool aren't providing him with that. But he looks lost. But it's nothing to do with fitness. Absolutely nout. Stop making excuses. And you know, I said there, good point, mate. He's never been match fit. When did he ever play a full 90 for Newcastle? You know, I just find it hilarious. I do, honestly, the excuses that come out from some people's mouths just to pacify the fans. And I mean, are Liverpool fans really that stupid that they're going to look at that report and think, yeah, I agree. You know, he's recovering from being on strike. We haven't seen the best of him yet. No, you haven't, because you don't give him the fucking ball. Crazy. Anyway, Simon Jordan has had a little bit of a say on the takeover at Newcastle and obviously celebrating the anniversary of the club being taken over. But he had to taunt his old nemesis, Amanda Staveley, yesterday, which... Why? There's no need to do it. He claims that Amanda Staveley, amid the Newcastle takeover taunt, looked like a fool. What the fuck? I mean, seriously. Why has he got this thing on Amanda Staveley? And this is how Jordan said, 10 minutes after saying that I got a text that the Saudis have copped to privacy to piracy and agreed to pay beIN Sports $1 billion in compensation. The moment that I heard that, I said, "Oh my God, they're going to do this deal." Well done to Amanda. She's a hustler and she gets deals done. Fair play to her. She had a right to put me in my place, and that's what she tried to do. At the time, I was very solid on why they wouldn't get through the door, because piracy was at the centre of it, and the Premier League was having none of it because it was their product that was being hijacked. The moment they changed and copped it to piracy, which is what they did, all bets were off. And of course, he's talking about himself looking like a fool. I got made to look like a fool. Now, obviously, Jordan is sometimes, when he turns around and says things like this, and certainly the way the Chronicle put the headline there, it was all about him making Amanda look like a fool, but it's not. It's the other way around when you actually read it. Thank you, Chronicle, for being absolutely shocking with your headlines again, by the way. Honestly, what is your problem? Why do you have to clickbait everything? He's not talking about Amanda being a fool. He's talking about him. So your headline is completely the wrong way around. Honestly. What has the Chronicle become? So listen, Amanda is still a saint with us, always will be a saint, always welcome back at the club for me. I just love it to bits. Everybody loves Amanda to bits, and still does. Although we did have to sort, the PSR situation out a little bit. I don't think we'll ever know what happened with that, I know a lot is aimed at Amanda for doing this and that, but come on. There's other people at Newcastle United running the accounts to turn around and say, yes or no, we can do this, we can't do this. And for some reason, she was told, yes, we can go and do it. And she went and done it, and then we got into PSR problems. So it's not all Amanda's fault. Now, another thing that made me chuckle this morning, and if I was a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I would be absolutely terrified, because Mike Ashley is now involved, or potentially going to be involved, in buying Sheffield Wednesday. Now, the current owner, Chansiri, is apparently not interested at the moment in any sort of deal. And this is crazy for me, because he is rotten that club to the core, a bit like Mike Ashley did with us. However, apparently several interested parties named in the Sheffield Wednesday takeover pursuit, and one of them is Mike Ashley. And this has been put out across the news networks, and a lot of Newcastle fans have been sort of taunting Sheffield Wednesday fans, saying that, RIP to your club. And trust me, ask Rangers and Newcastle United fans about Mike Ashley. They'll tell you the truth, etc., etc. Listen, I don't know where to start with this. Look, if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, you're going to look back at especially not so much Rangers, but Newcastle United. That's where you're going to look to see what kind of owner Mike Ashley is. And you're not going to get a very good CV from that at all. It is absolutely awful. That man used Newcastle United as a cash cow. Now, will he do the same as Sheffield Wednesday? Probably. Sheffield Wednesday is a huge football club that have been in the doldrums for far too long. Far too long. When I was a kid growing up, Sheffield Wednesday were a big side. We're a big, big side. Massive support. And they still have got massive support. But what's happened to them over the last 20-odd years is criminal, to be fair. Now, Mike Ashley was linked with Derby not long ago. And the Derby fans all came out and said, no, we don't want him, we don't want him. Some said, yes, we would take him because of the situation they're in now. Now, I've seen a few Wednesday fans, and I've seen, certainly reading the reports on this, that they're praising Mike Ashley for sorting Newcastle United's finances out and basically getting them into a very comfortable position financially where they weren't in debt. Now, look, we as fans can't deny that. We can't deny that he did get the club out of debt and got us in the black again and kept us in the black. Didn't risk it, didn't want to do anything. Once he started making money from the club, it was going into his coffers. He wouldn't put nothing back into the football club. That's where we hate the man for, because he treated Newcastle United, like I say, a cash cow. But he did put us in the black. And, finances aside, the man's a scumbag. The man is a scumbag. And we hate him. We hate him with every orifice that we have. However, Sheffield Wednesday and this reporter who wrote this are saying that maybe that he comes in and Mike Ashley can do the same as what he did for Newcastle, is clear off the debt, get the football club back in the black and start performing and try to raise up the tables again. Because at the minute, the way they're playing, they're heading back to League One. And that's not really where Sheffield Wednesday belong. As a football fan, I'm saying that. But it's crazy. For a man who's got, like Choppy's just said, the tightest billionaire on earth. And he is the tightest billionaire on earth. Nobody can say anything positive in Newcastle United about Mike Ashley. The man is a scumbag. And we look at the celebrations when the club was taken over. That's how much Mike Ashley meant to us. Nothing. But listen, if you're a Wednesday fan, any Wednesday fans watching this or watching on a rerun, tell me in the comments, are you excited about his name being linked with your football club, given what he did to Newcastle? Or do you see it that way, that he will put the club back into the black? And right now, the situation that you're in, and the financial doldrums and points deductions and things like that, is that all you care about, is getting the club back into the black out of debt? Because he probably will do that. But then after that, any money that you make as a football club goes straight in his coffers. But I can understand maybe Wednesday fans just wanting somebody, just to wipe out the debt and get the club back on a stable financial course, and then they can keep supporting their football club. I don't know. It's a strange one, but I don't want to sit here and praise Mike Ashley for anything. But that's the one thing he did, is put the club back in the black. So let's wait and see. But that is it for the show this morning, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Sorry again about being a bit late. We do have one super chat from I Like Coffee saying, LFC PR cushioning Isak's lack of instant impact. Absolutely. And they will continue to do that. No doubt. But thank you very much for watching the show, guys. And of course, we're back tonight. I think we're match day live with Billy for the England game against Wales. If there's any more news comes out today for Newcastle United, obviously I will send out a video. So keep your notifications on. Back tomorrow with a breakfast show at 10 o'clock. And then old school TTR is back for a one-off show, because obviously there's no football. So we'll have a bit of adult banter, shall we say, tomorrow night on TTR Friday. We'll have a good laugh, because I think everybody just needs a good laugh right now. So hopefully we'll do that tomorrow night on TTR Friday, where football will maybe take a little bit of a backseat. We'll have some funny stories and we'll have a good laugh. But thank you for watching, guys. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you a bit later. Take care, folks.
Come back and check out the breeze.